Per usual, the Lakers will be operating as an over-the-cap team this summer, meaning they are above the NBA salary cap, have zero cap space to work with, and have only veteran minimum contracts and a version of the mid-level exception to offer free agents, which is not a whole lot of spending power. And barring LeBron taking a pay cut, their version of the mid-level will be the taxpayer mid-level, worth roughly $5.6 million, compared to the non-taxpayer mid-level, worth roughly $12.5 million. So definitely a big difference there, and doesn't give them a whole lot of spending power to work with in free agency, but that does mean they have absolutely none of it to work with. Simply having a combination of Luka Doncic, LeBron James, and a contending team to offer to play with is a fairly attractive situation. So with that in mind here, what kind of budget free agents could they go after and potentially sign to upgrade their team? We'll talk about that and go through one at every single position. Talking about a budget option at point guard, shooting guard, small forward, power forward, and their much needed center position. So we'll talk about that and try to break it all down here. And just to be clear here, we have roughly $5.6 million to offer at the absolute most, so no, we can't sign guys like James Harden, even a guy like Miles Turner for example, and actually hope for them to accept that. We're not playing NBA 2K here after all, so we're going to be a bit more realistic. And I already know we're going to see unrealistic comments, but we're going to choose to ignore them. So without further ado here, beginning at point guard, I think the best budget option and probably the most realistic one that could actually help their team if he stays healthy probably would be Malcolm Brogdon. Whether that would be for the taxpayer mid-level, I'm not sure I'd offer him that, but if they could somehow get him for a veteran minimum contract, that would be an absolute bargain in my opinion. Yes, again, he might be a bit injury prone, only played 24 games last season, but the last time they did play for a contender, back with Boston in 2022-23, and probably felt more initiative to play games than the team didn't hold him out to tank or try to actually lose games intentionally. He did play 67 games. So putting him back on a contending team probably would help him out and likely would lead to him playing more. So pointing to that, although what he can still offer on the court and anything from scoring ability, playmaking, even solid defense, I think he'd be a great option for a bargain contract. I mean, the guy can put up roughly 12 to 15 points per game, even in only 23 to 25 minutes per game, is a former 6th man of the year back with Boston during 2023, so definitely can contribute both on the bench or even in your starting lineup, can be a very good playmaking option, has a career assists per game average of nearly 5 assists per game to only 1.7 turnovers per game, so definitely an efficient and very trustworthy playmaker too. Or then for 3-point shooting, is a very good and efficient 3-point shooter, holding a career average of 38.8%, even better as a corner 3-point shooter, having a career corner 3-point shooting average of 44.5%, so definitely can play on the ball, definitely can play off the ball, fill a catch and shoot role, even a on-ball playmaking role, and can definitely help out your offense, which I think would be a great fit for them off the bench. And then even defensively, is not a bad player here. Probably not the very good to even great defender that he once was, but definitely can still hold his own on defense. And factoring everything that he would offer if he could stay healthy, which I think would be better on a contending team and coming off a fairly rested year for him, I think it would be worth it, especially for a bargain contract. But then moving toward shooting guard, and here we have a player the Lakers have been constantly linked to for roughly 2 to 3 years now at this point, so we do know they have interest in him and likely would like to have him. Here we have Bruce Brown Jr., a player they've been linked to via trade rumors, free agency rumors following his NBA championship with Denver, and have pretty much shown interest in him for every year for 2 to 3 years now, like I said, and for good reason too. Definitely can be a 3-and-D option, is still fairly young yet at only 28, and they've showed interest in him since he was roughly 25, can be a playmaking option, very good defender, and can do a little bit of everything on the court, but he is coming off a down year for him, even kind of back-to-back down years, especially from the 3-point line, only shooting 33% last season, only 32.3% prior to that one, and can definitely be up and down in regard to 3-point shooting, but for a bargain contract and potentially getting him for the taxpayer mid-level might be a little bit of wishful thinking, but definitely not out of the realm of possibility. Again, coming off a down year and coming off a contract that was way too big for him, I wouldn't be shocked to see a team get him for roughly $5 million per year, maybe in between 5 to 10, but if the right team would offer it to him, maybe a contending team like the Lakers, I wouldn't doubt if you would take it. Even apart from the 3-point shooting, can be a very good defensive option, can defend the point of attack very well, can be a wing defender, is a little bit undersized for it, but definitely is a very scrappy defender, can be a defensive playmaker and cause takeaways, and simply put, is a very scrappy, pest-like defender on defense. And then offensively, no, he might not be the best 3-point shooter, albeit not the worst one, but he is a pretty good playmaking wing, is a very good connected passer, keeps the offense moving and does not stagnate the ball, so he tends to fit pretty well on a contending team that does have a pretty free-flowing offense, like he showed back in Denver, like he showed back in Brooklyn with Kevin Durant, Kyrie Irving, and James Harden, does have prior experience on good teams, and that is where he tends to fit. So I think he'd fit pretty well on their team and with their offense. And combine that with the defense, combine that with him being a budget option and potentially fitting their budget, and I think he'd be a great fit for their team and one that I would offer their tax pyramid level to, potentially. But then moving towards small forward, and here we have a player on the other side of LA, that being the LA Clippers, and this being Amir Coffey. Maybe not a player you've heard of or have paid much attention to, but actually is coming off a pretty solid NBA season, averaging roughly 10 points per game, playing 72 games and starting 13 of them, having a very good 3-point shooting year, shooting roughly 41% while taking 3.4 of them per game, even better as a corner 3-point shooter, shooting roughly 46.2% on corner threes, being a 41.9% career corner 3-point shooter. Definitely has shown promise as a catch and shoot option, has a pretty quick trigger, and has played on some pretty good teams, so does fit a contending team. And then defensively, maybe not the best defender, but I'd rank him around average to above average with very good length. Can defend everything from shooting guards, small forwards, even all the way down to power forwards in some matchups, so does have some pretty good versatility, both defensively and offensively, and I think he would be worth anything from a veteran minimum definitely, all the way up to a tax pyramid level exception, which would be an increase for him. Last season made roughly $3.9 million, so offering him a contract worth roughly $5.6 million would be an increase for him, and it might be enough to take him away from the rival LA Clippers, if you even call that a rivalry. But then moving on to power forward, and here we have a guy that dunked on LeBron James during the Olympics, that being Guerschon Yabusele. Maybe you've seen that, maybe you've not, maybe you blocked it out of your memory, but was a pretty impressive dunk, and that's not the only thing to like about Guerschon Yabusele. Yes, he did have an extended career over in Europe, came over late to the NBA after a brief NBA career which he didn't play much, but came back and definitely made a pretty big impact. Playing with Philadelphia last season, playing in 70 games and starting 43 of them, averaging roughly 27 minutes per game and making a pretty good impact, averaging 11 points per game, very good for a starter bench combo kind of player, shooting 50% from the field, 38% from 3 on roughly 4 attempts per game, 72.5% from the free throw line, grabbing 5.5 rebounds per game, very impressive as a power forward center hybrid, and yes, he can play center even at 6'8", with his massive 260-pound frame and 7'1" wingspan to pair with it. Played more at center than he did power forward last season, playing roughly 70% of his time at center, and that does show off his versatility and what he can do in a small ball lineup, which the Lakers may or may not continue, but would have a pretty good option for it with Guerschon Yabusele. I mean, the guy's a great post defender for a power forward center hybrid. With his massive 260-pound frame, it's pretty hard to move him. Then pair that with pretty good switchability on defense, is a decent, albeit not great perimeter defender, but definitely does offer some versatility. And simply put, pair that with the 3-point shooting, again shot 38% from 3 on 4 attempts per game this past season, is a very good catch and shoot guy, is a very good corner 3-point shooter, and you have a pretty good player that plays on both ends of the court and does offer a lot of versatility. I think he'd be a great option for them. He could probably be had for roughly the tax pyramid level. That would be an increase for him after making only a veteran minimum last season, and definitely would be in their price range and would be a good fit for them in my opinion too, especially if they were to lose or trade Rui Hachimura. Definitely a good replacement in that regard. But then moving towards center, and here we have a few options for it. Like I've talked about, I think their most likely options for it, and especially for a budget option, would be either number 1, Brook Lopez, or number 2, Clint Capella. Both fit their price range, both are veteran players that likely want to play for a contender, and the Lakers could offer them that role and even offer them a lot of playing time to begin with. If they don't immediately make a trade for a center, if they don't find their starting option, then one of those guys could temporarily fill it, or even potentially fill it all season long if they would play well. And I wouldn't be opposed to it, maybe not the starting role for them, but simply adding them to the team. Brook Lopez, for one, is obviously an older player, but definitely a highly productive one yet. Coming off a season of averaging 13 points per game, blocking 2 shots per game, and that is top 6 in the entire NBA last season, shooting 51% from the field, 37.3% from 3 on 5 attempts per game, and that's very high volume shooting for a big. Definitely offering something on both ends of the court. Isn't the most switchable defender, isn't the best lob threat in the world, but does offer some great 3-point shooting, some great rim protection, and a much more reliable big man option than they currently have on their team right now. And then for Clint Capella, kind of the polar opposite compared to Brook Lopez, more of an athletic big man, more of a lob threat, even though he's not a great rim protector anymore, not the best finisher around the rim, but does offer plenty of background in that regard and would be a decent fit for their team. I wouldn't even be opposed to signing both of them potentially for the right price. If they could somehow do it and diversify their center rotation, it might work for them. Overall here though, whether it be Brook Lopez and or Clint Capella, Gershon Yabusele, Amir Coffey, Bruce Brown, or Malcolm Brogdon, I think that would be a tremendous pickup for a budget option kind of contract. Anything from a veteran minimum, potentially up to the taxpayer mid-level for a couple of them. I think that would be a good addition to their team. And no, that wouldn't be the ultimate game-changing way to improve their lineup or improve their overall team, but it's actually a part of it. I already see comments saying that if these are the Lakers' only options, then they are cooked. But no, that's not the case here. It's simply a part of what they can do to upgrade their team and patch a few of their holes with, but their bigger holes and bigger needs have to come through a trade. They simply can't address them with their limited spending power in free agency, can't hope to change up their entire team dynamic with veteran minimum contracts and maybe a $5.6 million contract, maybe at most a $12.5 million one if LeBron will take a pay cut. That's not a reality. It's simply a part of what they're trying to do, but not the biggest part. Though don't overlook it, little options like this can often be the difference between a very good team and a championship level team. Finding that budget option that ends up being your 6th man off the bench, a potential 5th starter for your team, or somebody that kind of ties the rotation together can actually make a dramatic difference, so don't overlook it. But with all of that being said, what do you guys think? Who are your favorite budget free agents and which of them would you pick for the Lakers to sign? Let me know your thoughts in the comments down below. But I think that'll pretty much do it for this one, and if you enjoyed the video, then I'll greatly appreciate it if you dropped a like, subscribe to the channel if you have not already, and hit that notification bell to never miss out when I upload a video. But as always, thank you for watching and have a great day or night.